Hi guys, it's Nancy here and I am back with another process video, and I am trying to use up the last few bits of that kit that I've been using. And I had a black piece of basil cardstock and also this kind of blue, not this, it's not kinda, I don't know why I always say that, a blue piece of paper which had the leaves on the background. So I want to be scrapping 3 photos. I've cut 2 of those down, and this is of a view. The middle one is of my boyfriend taking a picture, and this is on the Pacific Highway. No, not Pacific, Panoramic Highway. And it's basically looking down over San Francisco and like the fog and the mist rolling in. It was absolutely beautiful and amazing. So I want to just document that. So I have these bits of paper that I want to try and use up. So I had the other side of that blue, which was the leaves, so I'm going to try and use that. I had a little bit of the purple left. And again, I'm going to see if I can possibly use any of these border strips pieces I had. I found this tag on my desk, but it was completely the wrong tone. I had that adventure mask that I also had to see if I could possibly use that, but I couldn't get that to work either. So at this point I am literally just shuffling lots of paper around. End up flipping this other piece of paper over and kind of just working out vaguely what I want to do. Again, I was challenging myself to use up these scraps where possible, and that did challenge me. Also on this layer I decided not to add a border piece because I don't have any other full sheets that I can use for a background, and I wanted to also challenge myself to just use some cardstock as a background. So of course I'm going to add some texture to that background. I take out my switch is the gold and then the coral. I used this on a previous layout, so they're already out on my desk. And so I'm going to add those into kind of the places where I know that there's going to kind of be 3 sort of clusters or 3 areas of interest. I also pulled out the Create Paper Journey Collection 6x6 paper pads. I'm going to be trying to use my paper pads, my 6x6 paper pads more. So I decided that would be perfect to use this to add in with these larger sheets of paper that I had. I'm going to ink all the edges. Again, it's just a phase I'm going through at the moment of inking edges. And it definitely is a phase because I don't always do it. So I'm just going to ink everything up while I leave that background to dry, because of course the metallic mists do take slightly longer to dry. I do just have to use my t-shirt to wipe off some mist from there on the photo, so I'm just going to use that just to kind of get it off there as much as I can. You can't really see it, so I'm not too worried about that. So again, just taking out some more of these offcuts I've got and trying to work out how I can get this to be balanced, because I'm aware that that strip is not kind of big enough to completely dissect a third of the paper, but I'm kind of happy where it goes. And I do really love this plus design as well. I do find while looking through the crate collection that there is a red, sort of a pinky red in that collection. There's exact same print, so I know that like Pebbles and Crate and all that are owned by American Crafts, so this must just be a sort of go-to design when they have spare bits. It's like almost like a neutral, which I really like. You can see it as I'm flicking it through. So I decided to pull out this quite bright chevron, but again the colours are going to pick up a lot of the colours that are in the Cedar Lane collection, and you can see those in that background piece. So I did just cut the video there while I cut that chevron out, and I also just used half that chevron just to put it up the top because I wanted to bring that pattern up there as well. And I'm now going to start building my cluster on the bottom there. That's also going to be where I'm going to put my title as well. I have also pulled out one of the 6x6 cut apart sheets as well from that collection. So I'm just going to be bringing some of my mist there as well, because I know that I wanted to just make sure that kind of fitted in with the background, especially as that background is so bold being black. So I'm now going through the die cuts which came with the Journey collection, and this one is perfect because it's like one of those little viewing telescopes, and so that's going to work perfect because, as I said, the views here were amazing. We did take loads of photos, and as I mentioned, to get to this state park and on the Panoramic Highway was a complete and utter mistake because I wasn't necessarily paying attention and was jet lagged. while putting the postcode, zip code into the sat nav and entered the wrong digit, hence why we ended up going about an hour out of our way, which we kind of realised halfway through but decided to just go with it, and then ended up here. And it was amazing. It was such a fortunate kind of muck up on my part. Even I did feel really bad, but we got to see some absolutely amazing views. So I'm just pulling out these bits. I also pulled a couple of tickets and tags from that journey, crepe paper journey collection die cut pack. And I did think about bringing some of those florals in, mainly just because I had them cut up and I wanted to try and use them. But they didn't really go. So again, this is the cut apart from the 6x6. Again, you get those in this in the larger size, of course, in the 12x12. So I'm just going to be cutting out a couple of these to end up adding on here. So I want to use this tag which says Our Adventure. And of course, because there's going to be other pages about how I messed up and we had a little bit of an adventure to try and find our way back, but it was well worth it. I'm going to play about with that arrow for a bit, and that arrow doesn't actually end up on the final layout because it didn't work, but I do replace it with another arrow. So I'm now just kind of trying to work out where I'm going with these clusters, and you do see me kind of on my layouts quite a lot fiddle around. I knew they wanted a tiny spot where I could put some journaling because, again, using the black background, that isn't necessarily going to show too easily. So there was this little piece on the cut apart sheet which I thought would be perfect to just maybe do a little bit of journaling, because that probably would show on the purple and that as well. But I've also got that yellow piece that I could possibly journal on as well. So I'm going to mount that viewfinder up on some 3D foam. And this is just the Stampin' Up 3D foam that I had sitting on my desk, so that's what I'm using. And then I was thinking about adding some wood veneers. Again, because I want to try and keep with the kind of the camera, the globe, the geotag, kind of, you know, those generic travel kind of pieces. So I'm just playing about with those. I've also got some cork pieces in there as well. Just seeing if I could get any of those to work. And I kind of like no, I'm not sure. So I decided to go with the camera. I pull out these Finders Keepers stamps, but the camera is very, very much too big. This would look ridiculous, so I don't know what I was thinking. But I then pull out the ones from her previous collection, the Amy Town collection, and I'm going to use those. So I've just stamped those up actually onto a card, which I think was a Jelly Bean Soup card. And basically just because I wanted that neutral cream. So I've just taken Bermuda Bay from Stampin' Up, that ink, and stamped that down. I'm then taking out some washi. This is some skinny washi that I recently got from Hey Little Magpie over. They've got lots of lovely new washi tapes in, so these were some skinny ones, and I'm very much kind of loving the skinny washi tapes at the moment. And I have bought a few more recently as well. They're especially great for Project Life, and just adding a little bit of interest in my Project Life cards, even though I'm behind by about 10 weeks on Project Life, but I'm hoping to catch up with that pretty soon. So I did just cut those out, and I'm just adding those to different places on here. Just going to fuss around a little bit with this bottom cluster because there was a weird kind of trap space, and then I put a second piece of washi tape, but that didn't kind of work. And so yeah, I'm going to fuss lots with this piece, which really was a waste of time because you can't really even end up seeing it, and I cover up all that ticket that I put down, which again is something that I do quite a lot, end up covering up layers that I've stuck down. So I'm eventually happy with that, and just moved to stick those other ones down. So I have just placed that another arrow which came from the collection pack down at the bottom, and I'm just seeing what other bits I've got in left over from the kit and seeing if any of those can possibly work. I do remember that I have these words, these kind of wood veneer words, and I pull out the one that says amazing, and want to use that as part of my title. Just going through the Cedar Lane die cuts that I've got left to see if I can get any of those to work. And again, I don't end up putting any of those on here. And so I'm going to use that alpha again, which I had sitting with that kit, and my title is going to go there in that bottom cluster on that chevron piece of paper. And I think it actually balances out really well. I did have a little bit of trouble because I didn't have all the letters that I needed, and I also realised that probably that little space was not going to be enough to do my journaling, and I'm trying to be much more conscious when I make my layouts so that I leave room for journaling. So I ended up sticking that card down, and that is from the Jen Hadfield collection, Cottage Living I believe, which I used for my previous month's Hey Little Magpie blog post, and I had a few of those left, and that ties in perfectly. So I'm just using these alphas to put what a amazing view. I wanted what an amazing view, but I didn't have an N, so I went with what a amazing view. It makes sense to me. I'm not too bothered. I know what I mean. So again, just using some of the word stickers from that sheet as well, just because I wanted to bring that teal colour in elsewhere. Again, if I add something to one cluster, I tend to like to use it in other clusters on the page. So I'm just going to fuss around cutting one of those up a little bit because it didn't fit in 100% where I wanted it, but I end up being happy where it goes eventually. So I'm then just going to add a few other little bits. Again, this heart was on my desk, worked in with the colours, so I end up sticking that down. Just going to use my wet glue just to stick down that wood veneer, and I really love that, how that works in perfectly for that title, and I'm quite into doing smaller font titles at the moment as well. So I'm just going to bring in some more mists over the top of all those clusters, and as I said, again, that's just going to help tie everything in together. And I really love this way of blocking in sort of 3 photos together in this way, and again just chopping those top and bottom ones down as well, because there was nothing really interesting in that bit either. So that is it for this layout. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will be back with some more videos very, very soon. Thanks very much, guys. Bye!